Hello, my name is Jimmy Vegas, and welcome to this, the 15th in a series of video tutorials for Unity 5. So if you remember the last episode, we started writing our first quest involving this guy right here. And all we were trying to do is get him to say, oh, he's lost his loot, can we go and fetch it? And then that's all we pretty much did. This episode we're going to carry on with that tutorial, and we're going to advance further on it and complete the actual quest itself. So the first thing I want to do is actually tidy up a little bit in the hierarchy, the asset window down here, as we will be creating more quest scripts. So firstly, I want to rename this, and I'm just going to call it quest 001 start. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to create a new folder and simply just call it quests. So everything related to quests now I want to put in this folder, or I should say any scripts relating to quests go in that folder. Right, so the first thing we'll do is we'll place down our bag of where the loot will be. So if we go into our objects and import this right here. So drag and drop into Unity, you know the thing to do by now. And it's called, what was it called? It was called Barrel, Box and Bag, which is this one there. SKP is no good, so head into Object, and you'll find this object right here. Now within this particular asset, there are 4 different things which we will be using throughout our time in this series. But for now, excuse me, I'm just going to use this and use one asset within this particular one, and I'm going to use the bag. So I'm going to put it inside this building here. So drag and drop straight into the scene there. Up here you'll notice it's got the objects all there. Under there we're going to take out this, it's called Mesh 1 Grain Sack. So drag and drop that out of the parent object in the hierarchy. Click continue. And then I'm going to delete the rest. So we just have the bag left. Let's right click, rename, and let's simply call this one loot bag. Excuse me. Next thing to do is we need to add a collider to it. So add component, physics and box collider. Nice and simple. So let's head back to our NPC over here. Now the way we originally set this up is the main object now is a cube which we have modified. And what I want to do is under this particular cube now we want to have Will and 2 other objects. So game object, 3D object, cube, drag and drop onto NPC 001, and I'm going to duplicate that. So I'm going to rename the first one, and let's simply call this one quest start, and then the second one rename, and let's call this one quest end. So the second one, what I think we'll do for now is we will untick here, so we'll set it inactive, and we need to adjust the size to make it kind of fit him a little more. So I'm going to put that as 1, and same again with that one, 1. Now obviously at the moment these oops, don't know what I did there. These 2 cubes kind of can't see our man. Nice and simple, remove the mesh renderer on both of them. So now what we ideally need to do is remove this quest 001 start script from our NPC 001 and place it on the quest start. So obviously best thing to do is drag and drop this onto quest start, head on to NPC 001, let's copy this text message that's right there, head on to quest start, and let's place it in here. So as I say, we're essentially making a duplicate of this script on quest start. So now what we need to do is open up our canvas, open up these just here, quest start, and let's put these objects in the correct places. So message box goes there, text goes there, quest box goes right there, and text goes there. So we've got that done. Now let's remove the script here. So right click, remove component. So now under this particular object that we have NPC 001, we have two objects which will be our script, and we have our actual NPC himself. So I'm just going to turn my volume off as I don't want it being too loud. Press play, and let's quickly double check that we're still able to use our quest. And yes. Okay, so we're still saying some bandits have stolen his money. Can we go get it? Get going, blah, blah, blah. So that's still working. So now we have our NPC set up perfectly for our quest. So we need to head into this quest script that we wrote last time. So if you double click, head into MonoDevelop, there are just a few lines of code that we do need to add in here. So underneath all your variables, we need to add in another variable, and we'll call this one quest item to show, and it has to be defined as a game object. So what we'll be doing here is, after we've spoken to our guy, our quest item, which in this case is the bag of loot, will appear for us to go and find. So under our first if statement just here, after the on mouse down, what we need to do is we need to put in another line which says activate that item. So we go to, let me think, what do we put in here? Oh, we put it as quest item to show, not shoe, show, dot set active, and put in brackets true and a semicolon, and let's save that script. So now if we head back into Unity, our loot bag has to be that quest item to show. So on our quest start, down here you'll notice we have another one, quest item to show. Drag and drop the loot bag on there. Click on loot bag and untick. So now when we play our game, our loot bag will not be there. So to make things a bit quicker for now, I'm actually going to move our first person controller over here. Let's press play. Excuse me. Let's head into this building. And we can't seem to get in because of our collider, but that's not to worry. Let's quickly sort that out, shall we? All the little problems you find as you keep going through Unity. So I'm just going to bring it up. It looks a little messy, but it's not a big deal. You can do it the right way if you want to. I'm just doing it to make things a bit quicker. So as I say, I still can't get in. Best thing to do there is either modify your building size or modify your collider with your person. So a couple of seconds wasted there, I'm not happy about. So our bag will eventually show just there. And as you can see, in reality, it is actually there. Hence this here. But the bag itself isn't because we have it disabled. So let's put our guy back over here. That'll do there. So now, when we actually talk to our guy, that bag will then appear because we've stated it to appear just there. Next thing to do is we need to put a script on that bag which will say, yes, we've picked it up, go back to the guy, and the quest will complete. So, in here, we need to go to Create and JavaScript. And I'm going to call this one Quest 001 Active. So this script, will be what we have active when we've picked up our... Oh yes, we want to save that, of course. Remember to save your quest start script. So as always, on quest active, delete everything you have. This script will be hopefully not too long. I'm not going to try and explain everything because most things, again, we covered in the last episode. So we need a variable. We need text box on check again as an integer, and we'll make it equal to 0. We need the variable message box as a game object there, and we need the text box. Oops, sorry, I've not put variable statement in front. Text box as another game object. So as I say last time, it's message box, text box there, what we display on the screen. So we need to define them as game objects. The next two variables we need are related to the quest. So var quest item to close, and that is a game object. So this will be the object we need to get rid of once we've collected our bag of loot, which in this case will be the quest start, which is on our NPC. So the next one, we need the variable quest item to show, and in this case will be the quest end, which is on our NPC. So that is also a game object, semicolon. So now we need function on mouse down. Remember, just a quick note here, it is case sensitive, so remember you need caps at certain places and lowercase at other places. We've used it enough now, so hopefully you've picked that one up. So on function mouse down, we need an if statement. If text box on check is equal to 0, then we can do the following. So open curly bracket. So what we're going to do here is we need to firstly set our text box on check to 1. Next, we need to set our message box set active, and we need that as true, don't we? So we need to actually show our text box. And then we need to change the text, so we need text box dot get component. What do we need on that? We need the spiky bracket, we need text, we need to close spiky bracket, open close normal brackets, and the text we'll actually make this say you found the loot. Remember the double quotes in that text. And now what we'll do is I want the box to stay on for just a couple of seconds and then disappear. So it's like a bit like a message, really. So to do that, we need yield and then wait for seconds and then open bracket, and let's say 3 seconds. I think 3 seconds is a good number. We'll test that out in a second. Next, we need to set this particular game object. So game object, and remember that is a lowercase g and a capital O, dot set active, and we want false on that one. We also need to set our message box at this point as inactive, so message box dot set active and false again in the brackets. And the next thing we need to do is we need to close the quest start on our NPC. So we need quest item to close dot set active, and we need that as false. So the last thing we need for this particular script is we need to have the quest end showing on our NPC. So that's quest item to show dot set active true. Okay, and then let's close the if statement with a closed curly bracket, and then let's close the function, and then let's save that script. If I'm going a bit too fast, just kind of pause the video, or this script is available on our website. If you head over there, you can download it. So, what have we got here? Unknown identifier message box. Have I done something silly? Yes, I've misspelled message box there. That's my fault. So hopefully this will disappear. Yep, there we go. So now quest 001 active has to go onto the loop bag. So that script we've just typed, drag and drop onto loop bag. Then click on loop bag, and then you've got these options here. So much in the same way we did before, the message box goes onto message box, text goes onto text box, and then it's got quest item to close. So we need to close the quest start because we've started it, we've done it. We just need to end it, so we need to show the quest end. Okay, I'm not going to play it just yet. We're going to do one last quick script, and we're going to kind of cheat a little with this one. It just makes things a little easier because we've already typed what we need to type, so why do we bother need to type it again? So down here, right click, create JavaScript, and let's call this one quest 001 end. Open up your script. Just give it a second. Okay, so down here we've got it open, delete as usual. And what I really want to do is quest 001 start. We're going to copy the entire script and paste it. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take out 2 lines of code that we wrote last time, which is down here at the bottom in this script we wrote in the last episode. I think we'll get rid of this line just here, the text message, villager get going then, and same there. I don't think it was actually necessary for them to be there, but at the time I wanted to write them just in case. So this quest 001 end, again, let's kind of just delete those 2 lines. And all I want from this particular script is kind of what we had last time. We don't need this variable just here. So quest item to show, we can get rid of that variable. Then this quest item to show set active true can go again. That can be deleted. And I think, I'll tell you what we'll do. This particular one for now, where it says villager get going then, click before it and then type in a /. You'll notice it turns grey. It's turned grey because when the script now runs, Unity will ignore this particular line. So let's see, what can we type in here? We need to change the quest name, and we need to put that back as none because we've now completed our quest. And here we've got text box component text. I'm going to delete where it says text message. And I'm just going to put in quotes, villager, thank you very much, in double quote. Now, effectively, it means that some of these variables are not exactly necessary. And in fact, do you know what? We're going to cut some code out here. So where we've got there, active quest none, copy that and put it over where it says quest name, and then delete this line here. There's no point to that now, so then we can get rid of that variable, just hogging up room that we don't really need. And because we've put this here, the text box, we can get rid of text message, so get rid of that one as well. The other 5 should remain. So let's save that. Let's head back to Unity, give it a second to have a quick think, and that script does seem fine. So this quest 001 end script now, drag and drop onto quest end over here, click the object, and then the final thing to do is, as always, drag and drop the message box, drag and drop the text box, drag and drop the quest box, and then drag and drop the quest text box. Now I'm going to save that project now, Control S, or File, Save, whichever. And now, with a bit of luck, we'll see if our quest actually works. So press play. Let's head to our NPC. Let's speak to him. Okay, so some bandits have stolen his loot. Could you retrieve it? Get going then. Blah, blah. Yep, he's not happy. So let's head over this way to that other village. Cross the river. Up the other side. And round. Oops. Silly me. Walking into things. Okay, in. And as you can see, our loot is there. We found the loot. And it stayed on for 3 seconds, and now the loot is gone. So let's head back to our guy to tell him we found his loot. Cross that nice bridge. It's not very nice, actually. I don't like it, but never mind. And back in here, and let's talk to our guy. He says thank you very much, and our quest is now gone. So we have now created a full quest. It's nice and simple, but the basics of it can be used to pretty much do anything. And in a couple of tutorials time, we will be doing another quest, but this time I want to have enemies in it and maybe possibly go into a cave. But there's a few things I'd like to cover before we get that far. So we'll leave this episode there for now. If you haven't noticed by now, we have a first-person tutorial. Sorry, an FPS I should say, first-person shooter tutorial on our channel. Have a quick check of that if you fancy some guns. So until next time, have a play around, do what you can, and just enjoy Unity. I'll see you next time.